Every morning, millions of women open their eyes and begin the same routine they've followed for years. They reach for their phones, rush to prepare breakfast or help their families, barely pausing to take a breath before the day begins. For most, it feels normal, harmless, part of life. But for women who are facing or recovering from breast cancer, the morning hours hold more power than they imagine. The choices made in those first moments can either help the body heal or quietly invite new risks to grow stronger. And that's why this conversation matters, because healing doesn't just happen at the hospital or through medication. It begins at home, the very moment the day starts. Many women living with breast cancer or in remission say that mornings are the hardest. The fear wakes up before they do. The mind races with questions that never seem to fade. Will the cancer come back? Did I do something wrong? Am I eating the right things? The silence of dawn, often, carries the weight of those fears. And in that silence, habits start forming. Small, automatic actions that might seem harmless but slowly affect recovery, energy, and peace of mind. That's what we need to talk about. The little things that happen every morning that most women never realize could be holding them back from feeling better. One of the first and most common habits is skipping breakfast or replacing it with nothing but coffee. For many, coffee feels like fuel, the one thing that keeps them going. But the truth is that after cancer treatment, especially chemotherapy or radiation, the body's chemistry changes. The liver, hormones, and immune system become more sensitive. When the stomach wakes up empty and is filled only with caffeine, stress hormones like cortisol spike. That constant stress can lead to inflammation, and inflammation is one of the body's worst enemies during recovery. It can worsen fatigue, make hormonal balance harder to maintain, and even impact how the body responds to medication. A cup of coffee isn't the enemy, but drinking it before giving your body real nourishment is. The body needs stability first thing in the morning, not stimulation. Another mistake happens in silence, holding emotions inside. So many women wake up every day pretending to be strong. They put on a smile, fix their hair, prepare breakfast, and try to move forward as if nothing happened. But deep inside, there's fear, sadness, and a quiet exhaustion that no one sees. Suppressed emotion doesn't disappear. It hides in the body, creating tension, tightening the chest, disturbing sleep, and increasing anxiety. Emotional stress can trigger physical responses, higher blood pressure, weaker immune defense, hormonal imbalance, all of which quietly disturb recovery. It's okay to cry in the morning. It's okay to take a few minutes to breathe, to talk to God, to whisper what you really feel. Healing requires honesty, even with yourself. One patient once said that the mornings after her surgery were the loneliest moments of her life. Everyone around her celebrated that the worst was over, but inside she felt broken. Her body had changed, her confidence had disappeared, and even simple things, like choosing clothes or taking a shower, became emotional battles. What she didn't know back then was that recovery is not just physical. It's emotional, spiritual, and deeply human. Many women fight so hard to survive that they forget how to live afterward. They wake up surviving instead of living. And that's when subtle habits start to shape the body's energy and the mind's resilience. There's also the pressure to go back to normal. Society loves survivors who smile. People say, "You're strong, you're brave, you beat it." But inside, some women feel the opposite. Fragile, uncertain, terrified of every little pain. That internal conflict creates stress. And stress, when repeated day after day, weakens the very systems the body depends on to stay healthy. Mornings filled with pressure instead of peace make the heart race faster, slow digestion, and even affect hormone production. The body listens to the mind more than most realize. A calm morning can be as powerful as any pill. A tense morning can undo the benefits of an entire day of healthy choices. Then comes another quiet mistake: ignoring sleep. Many women wake up early even when their bodies are begging for rest. They've been told that productivity equals value, that sleeping too much is laziness. But for someone recovering from cancer, sleep is medicine. During deep rest, The body repairs damaged tissues, balances hormones like estrogen, and strengthens immune defense. Skipping sleep or waking up too early for no reason doesn't make you strong. It makes your healing slower. Every cell in your body needs rest as much as your mind does. A woman who sleeps peacefully gives her body the strength to fight and recover. A woman who denies herself rest gives illness another chance to return. Nutrition plays a role too, especially in the morning. Eating processed foods, too much sugar, or skipping protein can send mixed signals to your metabolism. After treatment, metabolism often slows, and energy levels fluctuate. A balanced breakfast, something as simple as oatmeal, fruit, and water, can make a huge difference. When you eat gently and consistently, your body learns safety again. Recovery thrives in safety, not chaos. A good morning routine isn't about perfection, it's about listening to what your body asks for instead of forcing it into routines that no longer serve you. And yet, despite all the science, the most powerful thing about mornings isn't food or sleep, it's mindset. The moment you open your eyes, the thoughts that fill your mind create a message your body listens to. If the first thought is fear, your heart beats faster. If it's gratitude, your entire chemistry changes. Gratitude is not denial, it's healing in motion. Saying thank you for another day of life reminds your body that it has a reason to fight. That small act lowers stress, improves immune response, and rebalances hormones. Gratitude is not just spiritual, it's physiological medicine. When your mind believes you are healing, your body starts acting like it too. If you're watching this and you've been through breast cancer, you know that every morning feels different. Some days are hopeful, others are heavy. But every sunrise is another chance to choose small changes that matter. Stop punishing your body with guilt or perfection. Stop skipping meals. Stop living in silence. Stop ignoring what your heart tries to tell you. Start each morning by honoring your life, not your fear. Now, before we continue, there's something important. Many women think they're doing everything right, eating well, sleeping enough, staying positive, and yet they still feel exhausted or anxious. If that's you, you're not alone. This journey is complex, and no one heals overnight. Tell us in the comments, do you ever feel like you're doing everything you can, but your body still doesn't respond the way you expect? Right, I feel this too, so that other women reading know they're not alone. Your words can be the comfort someone else needs today. Each day is a new beginning, and your mornings are sacred. They set the tone for the entire day. When you start with love, awareness, and gentle choices, healing follows naturally. In the next part, we'll talk about the small adjustments you can make in your morning routine to reduce inflammation, balance your energy, and rebuild confidence in your body, step by step, with care, truth, and hope. When morning light enters the room, many women believe that getting out of bed quickly means strength, proof that they are winning the battle against fear and fatigue. But what most don't realize is that rushing into the day can keep their bodies trapped in survival mode. The body that once endured treatments, medications, surgeries, and sleepless nights is still learning how to feel safe again. Healing takes time, and mornings are where that process begins. The nervous system doesn't just reset overnight, it listens to how gently you treat yourself the moment you wake up. For women who have gone through breast cancer, mornings are often full of unspoken emotions. Some feel gratitude, others wake up with quiet anxiety. Many say they open their eyes and immediately start thinking of what could go wrong. Another test, another appointment, another result. What few people understand is that these thoughts release a wave of hormones that shape the rest of the day. Cortisol rises, blood pressure increases, and the body prepares for a danger that isn't there. That's how fear begins to live in the body, not as a feeling, but as chemistry. Over time, this quiet fear steals energy, weakens recovery, and creates fatigue that no medicine can fix. That's why slow mornings are not laziness. They are medicine. Sitting on the edge of the bed, breathing deeply, feeling the floor beneath your feet. These small acts tell your nervous system, I'm safe now. And when the body feels safe, it begins to heal more efficiently. Women who allow themselves peaceful mornings often notice fewer mood swings, better digestion, and stronger immune function. They also report something even deeper: peace. Because recovery is not only about removing cancer, it's about teaching the body to trust life again. There's a story often shared among survivors about a woman who spent her mornings rushing between her kids, her job, and her medications. She said that even after being declared cancer-free, she still felt trapped, tired, irritable, unable to sleep. One morning, she decided to sit in silence for just 5 minutes before doing anything. She breathed, cried, and spoke to God about her fear. From that day on, she promised to start every morning by connecting with life before connecting with the world. A few months later, her body changed, not because of a miracle, but because she stopped feeding stress and started feeding peace. Another habit that silently hurts recovery is skipping hydration. Many women forget that after cancer treatment, the body becomes more sensitive to dehydration. Chemotherapy and radiation can damage the cell's ability to retain water. Without enough fluids, toxins stay longer in the system, and fatigue deepens. Yet many start their day with coffee or tea instead of water. The body needs water before anything else. A glass of warm water with lemon in the morning helps the liver flush out toxins and balance digestion. A gentle act of care that sends a message of renewal. Hydration isn't just physical, it's symbolic. It tells the body that it's time to cleanse not only what's inside, but also what was carried emotionally. Then there's the issue of food. Many women eat breakfast in silence, without realizing how emotions affect digestion. A tense mind creates a tense stomach. Stress changes how the body absorbs nutrients. That's why mindful eating is powerful. Sitting down, taking time, chewing slowly, even saying a quiet thank you before eating. It may sound small, but these habits influence hormones, energy levels, and how the immune system functions. Breakfast doesn't have to be complicated. Whole foods, natural ingredients, fruits, and proteins create stability. The simpler the meal, the more your body understands it. But healing is not only about food or water, it's about what you feed your mind every morning. Some women begin their day reading frightening news, scrolling through social media, or comparing their lives to others. These habits plant invisible seeds of stress. Every headline about illness or tragedy can trigger a physical response in the body of someone who has lived through trauma. The heart races, breathing shortens, and the mind begins to spiral into what-ifs. That's why the first information that enters your mind each morning matters. If you fill your mind with fear, your day becomes fear. If you fill it with gratitude or music or prayer, your day becomes peace. The body follows what the mind believes. One woman once said that her mornings used to be a battlefield. She would wake up and stare at her scars in the mirror, asking herself if she'd ever feel normal again. The reflection reminded her of loss, and every day started with sadness. Then, a therapist suggested she replace the question, "Why me?" with, "What can I do to love myself today?" It seemed simple, even silly at first, but as weeks went by, she began to see her scars differently, not as a reminder of what was taken, but of what survived. She said that changing her first thought each morning changed her life more than any treatment had. Small questions shape big outcomes. The way you talk to yourself in the morning influences how your cells behave. Science calls it psychoneuroimmunology, the link between mind, nerves, and immunity. But beyond science, it's common sense. A calm heart heals better than a fearful one. A grateful mind digests food more easily. A hopeful spirit produces better sleep. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware that your mornings write the first page of your healing each day. Another silent mistake is ignoring pain. Some women wake up with stiffness, swelling, or muscle tension, but pretend it's nothing. They're afraid to complain because they don't want to sound weak or ungrateful. But ignoring the body's signals is dangerous. Post-surgical pain, limited arm movement, or even numbness can become chronic if not treated early. Stretching in the morning, gentle massage, or a short walk can improve circulation and reduce pain. Your body is not a problem to fix. It's a partner to care for. Listening to its whispers prevents the screams later. And then there's sleep once again. Many survivors fall into the trap of sleeping less to prove they're fine. But poor sleep affects everything, from hormone balance to weight, mood, and memory. Even 1 or 2 bad nights can raise inflammation. Some women develop insomnia after treatment, often linked to anxiety or medication. Effects: creating a bedtime ritual, turning off screens, dimming the lights, or listening to calm music helps the body prepare for rest. A good night's sleep is the foundation for a peaceful morning. You can't start your day right if your night was chaos. Faith also plays a role. Even women who are not religious often talk about the peace that comes from believing in something greater, the sense that life has meaning beyond the diagnosis. Morning prayer or meditation doesn't need to be long or formal. It's not about religion, it's about connection. When you begin your day acknowledging a power beyond yourself, you release the need to control everything. And that surrender lowers anxiety. Studies show that faith-based practices reduce stress hormones and improve quality of life after cancer. But more than studies, there's something deeper, a quiet comfort that words can't describe. If you're watching this now, take a moment to think about your own mornings. What do you usually do right after waking up? Do those actions bring peace or pressure? Healing is not about adding more tasks to your day. It's about removing what hurts you quietly. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to care. And remember, you're not alone in this. Thousands of women wake up every day asking the same questions, facing the same fears. That's why sharing stories matters. Tell us in the comments, which part of your morning feels the hardest for you right now? Is it the fear, the fatigue, the silence, or the pressure to be strong? Write it below. Mornings are the hardest for me because your words might give another woman the courage to start her day with hope. Every sunrise is another chance. Even when the body feels weak, even when fear whispers that it might return, there's still life moving inside you. Cells rebuilding, organs learning, the heart beating with quiet determination. Healing is slow, but it's real. In the next part, we'll explore how to rebuild your relationship with your body after breast cancer, understanding physical recovery, emotional intimacy, and the quiet art of trusting yourself again. Because healing isn't just about surviving, it's about returning home to yourself. Healing after breast cancer is not only about what doctors see under the microscope, it's also about what a woman sees in the mirror every morning. Long after the treatments end, many women wake up and face a reflection that doesn't feel like them anymore. Scars, swelling, changes in skin color or shape. They tell stories of survival, but also of loss. Some women quietly avoid looking at themselves, turning away from the mirror, pretending that acceptance will come with time. Yet, what they rarely hear from doctors is that emotional healing is not automatic. It requires deliberate care as much as the body does. Every morning begins a silent conversation between a woman and her reflection. Some mornings she says nothing, just dresses quickly and hides her body beneath layers of fabric. Other mornings she touches her scars and feels both pride and pain. This duality is normal, but it's also exhausting. It's the invisible weight of recovery. To be grateful and grieving at the same time. People around her may say, "You look great," not realizing that inside she still feels broken. That's why mornings matter so much. They are moments when a woman decides whether to fight against herself or to gently walk beside her own pain. The truth is that body image after cancer is not vanity, it's identity. When a woman loses part of her breast, she doesn't just lose tissue, she loses a symbol of femininity, intimacy, and self-confidence. And every morning, when she gets dressed, those emotions return like echoes. Many survivors speak about the quiet sadness they feel while choosing clothes, avoiding tight shirts, or comparing their bodies to old photos. This sadness, if left unspoken, becomes isolation. Women begin to hide not only from others but from themselves. They smile in public, but mourn in private. One woman once explained that after her surgery, she couldn't look at herself for 6 months. She showered in the dark, refused to change in front of mirrors, and told herself she was fine. But one morning, her daughter walked in while she was dressing and simply said, "Mom, you're beautiful." That moment broke something open inside her. Not pain, but release. She realized she had been treating her scars as enemies when they were actually proof of her strength. From that morning on, she began to touch her body differently, not with fear, but with gratitude. Doctors often focus on remission, but not enough on reconciliation, the process of making peace with one's own body. And yet, that peace is vital for healing. When a woman accepts her new self, her brain begins to regulate hormones differently. Stress decreases, inflammation lowers, and self-care becomes easier. Acceptance is not just emotional, it's biological. Studies have shown that women who embrace their bodies after surgery recover faster and report less chronic pain, because the body listens to love just as it listens to fear. Another unspoken part of recovery is intimacy. Many women fear closeness after treatment. They worry their partners will see them differently or feel discomfort touching them. This fear creates distance that deepens loneliness. But intimacy is more than physical. It begins in trust, the belief that you're still whole, still worthy of love. Some women find healing by speaking openly with their partners. Others find it through journaling, prayer, or therapy. The key is to reconnect with the idea that the body, no matter how changed, is still capable of feeling joy, warmth, and connection. Mornings can be powerful moments to rebuild this connection. Lighting a candle, applying lotion gently on the skin, standing in front of the mirror and saying, "I am alive and I'm still me." These rituals tell the nervous system that life continues. They replace fear with familiarity. The more often a woman repeats them, the more her brain rewires safety and acceptance. Healing is not about forgetting what happened. It's about learning to live alongside it. Fear of recurrence is another quiet burden that wakes up with many survivors. A small ache, a little fatigue, and the mind instantly whispers, "What if it's back?" That fear is understandable. Once you've heard the word cancer, it never completely leaves. But living in constant fear keeps the body in tension. It floods the bloodstream with stress hormones, making recovery harder. Doctors can't always erase that fear, but they can teach awareness without panic. Knowing the real signs to watch for, unusual swelling, persistent pain, skin changes, helps women feel more in control. Understanding what's normal and what deserves attention can replace fear with vigilance. One nurse who had survived breast cancer once said, "Every morning I check my body not because I'm scared, but because I'm grateful I still have one to check." That shift, from fear to gratitude, is the essence of long-term recovery. Awareness is power, but fear is poison. When women learn the difference, they reclaim peace. The morning routine after breast cancer should be an act of love, not punishment. Too often, women wake up and start with criticism. "I look tired. My hair is thinner. My body is different." These thoughts may seem harmless, but repeated daily, they become beliefs. The mind accepts them as truth. That's why one of the most healing habits a woman can develop is talking to herself with kindness. Instead of focusing on what was lost, focus on what remains. The heartbeat that never stopped, the breath that keeps coming, the hands that can still hold, create, and comfort. Exercise also becomes a bridge between body and confidence. Gentle stretching in the morning improves mobility, especially after surgery or radiation. It helps reduce swelling, stiffness, and arm pain. But beyond physical benefits, movement reconnects a woman to her own rhythm. Many survivors say that light exercise, walking, yoga, even dancing, helps them feel alive again. Movement tells the body, "We're not broken, we're moving forward." And yet, some mornings will still be hard. Some days sadness will win, and that's okay. Healing isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. There will be moments when you feel like you're back at the beginning. When those moments come, don't fight them. Sit with them. Talk to someone. Let the emotion flow instead of letting it rot inside. The body can't heal from what the mind refuses to feel. Support groups, both online and in person, have saved countless women from isolation. Hearing others say, "I feel that too," creates relief that medicine can't provide. It turns pain into connection. That's why community matters. Healing alone is heavy. Healing together is lighter. When women share their stories, they remind each other that survival is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new one. If you're watching this and you see yourself in these words, take a deep breath. You've carried more than anyone should, and yet you're still here. Your scars don't define you. Your courage does. You are not the same woman you were before cancer. You're wiser, stronger, more compassionate. The world may not see all that, but your mornings do. Every sunrise gives you another chance to rebuild your relationship with yourself. Write in the comments, "I'm learning to love my body again." These words aren't just sentences. They're a declaration of healing. When others read them, they'll know they're not alone in this journey. And maybe that's how healing spreads, not through perfection, but through shared truth. In the next part, we'll talk about how to use your mornings to strengthen both your body and your spirit, combining nutrition, mindset, rest, and gratitude to create real, lasting recovery. Because every day you wake up, your healing continues. And tomorrow can always begin better than today. There comes a point in every woman's journey when she realizes that healing isn't something that happens to her. It's something that happens through her. Mornings, once heavy with fear and fatigue, begin to transform into sacred moments of renewal. It doesn't happen overnight. It begins quietly, almost unnoticeably. The morning she wakes up and decides not to rush. The day she chooses a soft breakfast instead of coffee on an empty stomach. The moment she looks in the mirror and sees not a scar, but proof of survival. Healing grows in these small choices, one sunrise at a time. Every survivor knows that mornings carry memories. The sound of an alarm can bring back hospital beeps. The smell of soap can recall sterile rooms. Even sunlight through the window can remind her of the mornings she wasn't sure she'd see again. But within those same mornings lies the opportunity for rebirth. The body that once endured suffering now holds the memory of strength. Each breath, each heartbeat, each gentle movement is a quiet declaration. I made it this far. Many women reach a stage of recovery where they look fine on the outside, but inside, the mind is still healing. They wake up tired without understanding why, or they carry a fear they can't explain. This happens because trauma leaves echoes. The mind remembers pain longer than the body does. That's why conscious mornings are essential. When a woman wakes up and chooses peace, she teaches her brain that danger is over. When she prays, meditates, or simply sits in gratitude, she rewrites the narrative that cancer left behind. The brain begins to produce new connections, and the body follows with calmer rhythms and better balance. Healing becomes less about treatment and more about transformation. One woman shared that for years after her remission, she still woke up expecting bad news. She would reach for her phone, afraid of test results, messages from doctors, or reminders of the next appointment. Then one morning, she decided to replace that habit with something else. Before touching her phone, she would place her hand over her chest, feel her heartbeat, and whisper, "I'm still here." That simple ritual changed her entire relationship with mornings. It turned fear into gratitude. Because gratitude is not ignoring pain. It's remembering that even through pain, life continues. There's a deep connection between the mind, the body, and the spirit that medicine often forgets. A woman's thoughts in the first 10 minutes of her day can set the tone for her hormones, immune function, and mood. The body listens to intention. A peaceful morning sends signals of safety through every cell. A chaotic morning tells the body to stay on alert. And when the body is always alert, it can't rest, can't repair, can't rebuild. That's why the calm of morning is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Faith, too, is part of this rhythm. Whether a woman believes in God, nature, or something beyond understanding, connecting with that higher presence every morning gives meaning to the struggle. Faith doesn't erase fear, but it gives it a place to rest. Many women who faced cancer say that prayer became their oxygen. Even on the hardest days, a simple "thank you for another day" reminded them that life is more than pain. It's purpose. When faith becomes a morning habit, Anxiety loses its grip. Hope begins to grow again. After cancer, life demands a new kind of discipline, not the rigid one that pushes, but the gentle one that protects. Mornings are the best place to practice it. Drinking water instead of caffeine, breathing deeply before speaking, stepping outside to feel sunlight, eating slowly, and forgiving yourself for not being perfect. Each act is small, but accumulates strength. The body notices consistency more than intensity. You don't need grand gestures. You just need grace repeated daily. It's also important to remember that prevention and recovery walk hand in hand. For women who have never been diagnosed, these same morning choices matter. Regular exercise, balanced meals, enough rest, and managing stress aren't just good habits. They are protection. What begins as self-care becomes defense. Women who nourish themselves daily lower their risk not just of recurrence, but of chronic fatigue, anxiety, and depression. Healing and prevention are two sides of the same kindness. The kindness you show to your own body. There's a quiet wisdom that comes after facing breast cancer. Many women describe it as seeing life in sharper color. Simple things become sacred. The warmth of sunlight, the laughter of children, the smell of rain. They no longer chase perfection because they understand how fragile everything is. This awareness brings peace that no diagnosis can steal. It's what makes mornings once feared become holy ground. Every sunrise becomes a promise. You get another chance to live differently. Still, the journey isn't always smooth. Some mornings will bring tears, flashbacks, or doubts. Healing doesn't mean those. Feelings vanish. It means learning to meet them with gentleness. When fear visits, acknowledge it. When sadness lingers, breathe through it. The goal isn't to eliminate pain, but to transform how you hold it. You can hold fear in one hand and gratitude in the other. Both can exist, and you can still move forward. There's also the power of community. Women who share their journeys, in comments, support groups, or quiet conversations, create a circle of healing. Every time one woman speaks her truth, another finds the courage to speak hers. This connection is how strength multiplies. Healing is not a competition, it's a collaboration. The mornings when a woman feels weak might be the same mornings she gives someone else hope simply by sharing her story. One survivor said that every morning she writes one sentence in a notebook. Today, I choose life. Some days she believes it completely. Other days she writes it through tears. But she never skips it. Over time, those pages became proof of her resilience. When she looked back, she realized she had collected hundreds of reasons to keep going. That's the power of intention. It grows, quietly, until one day it becomes who you are. As life continues, the body changes, hormones shift, and new challenges appear. But what remains constant is choice. Every morning, a woman gets to decide how she will meet the day. She can choose chaos or calm, fear or faith, pressure or peace. The world outside may be noisy, but the morning is hers. It's the one time of day when she can truly listen to her body, her breath, her spirit. And that listening is where healing lives. If you're watching this right now, remember this. You've already survived the unthinkable. You've walked through fear that most people will never understand. You don't need to prove your strength anymore. You only need to live it, quietly, kindly, in the way you wake up, breathe, eat, and love yourself. Healing doesn't mean going back to who you were. It means becoming who you were meant to be all along. Take a moment tomorrow morning before you move, before the world demands your attention. Place your hand over your chest. Feel your heartbeat. That's not just rhythm. It's a reminder that life, even after pain, continues to rise inside you. You are still here, for a reason. Now, tell us in the comments. What gives you strength in the morning? Is it faith, family, music, or simply the will to keep going? Write it below, because your words might be what another woman needs to start her day with courage. And if this message touched your heart, subscribe to this channel. Here, you are never alone. Every week, we share words that bring light, comfort, and real solutions for your body and your spirit. Join this community of women who choose hope every day, no matter what they've faced. Healing after breast cancer is not a destination, it's a daily practice. It's found in the way you breathe, rest, and speak to yourself. It's in the gentle mornings that rebuild your trust in life. The battle you fought was enormous, but the life that awaits you is even bigger. So tomorrow, when the sun rises, don't rush to survive. Allow yourself to live, because every new morning is not a reminder of what you've lost, but a celebration of what still remains. And what remains is beautiful, strong, and worthy of every single sunrise.